Tesla's keys to $3,000 a share are hiding in plain sight. We got to decode that shareholder meeting, call, announcement, all that good stuff. I'm Brian. Welcome to my Tesla weekend. How is everybody? How am I sounding? My levels look good from here. All right. Let's get started, shall we? So, we're going to be talking about that. That's what we're going to talk about. As a reminder, this is the live version that goes on every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. You might be watching this later on the condensed version. It's whichever version you see on the screen. And hey, guys, if you get a chance, you know what you could do? Is give me the thumbs up and the likey likes and the all that good stuff so that other people could actually find this video. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Quarter 4 and financial year 2021 update. So there's a bunch of good stuff. Wow, Todd, thank you so much. There's a bunch of great stuff in here. Let's start here on, what is this, page 2? Check my notes. Page 3. Operating cash flow, less CapEx, $2.8 billion. Nice. In total, $1.8 billion increase in our cash and cash equivalents to 17.6 Bubba's billions of dollars. Now, that may not sound like much for a very large company to have 17 billion cash on hand. That's not much, is it? Well, yes, it is. Last year, they only laid out something like $6.5 billion to get Gigas Berlin and Austin nearly to where they are now. That's most of their expense on those. That's fantastic. So I think we're looking at about $4 billion each to create factories that can produce on par with Giga Shanghai. Profitability, $2.6 billion gap. Let's see here. But the exciting part is the automotive gross margin, 30.6%, 29.2%, excluding credits. I put that somewhere. I didn't put it next, did I? I did. Yay. So the good news here is that they're very profitable on cars, even without the ZEV credits. So that means if you back it out, if you cross multiply and divide, only 4.5% of the profit per car, gross profit, comes from the ZEV credits. And again, if we're going to be backing those out, we need to back them out of the fines and fees not paid by legacy makers to get to where they are. So here we are on page 4. Auto revenues, way up. Profit, way up. Margin, slightly up, despite, high expenses at the moment. Revenues, way up. Profit, up. GAAP profit, up. 27.4% on the generally accepted accounting practices gross margin is fantastic. It is ridiculous. It is wonderful. Quick hello to my regulars in here. Wendelin, Therese, Paul, Todd. Howdy, folks. Howdy. All these numbers are good. All these numbers are good. You would think Wall Street would be excited about this. But, Wall Street. On page 6, total revenue grew 65%. Year over year, revenue was impacted by the following items: growth in vehicles, growth in other parts of the business. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right to me. What did I have on this? Profitability. So our operating income improved to $2.6 billion compared to the same period last year, resulting in a 14.7% operating margin. A lot of the problem was the hundreds of millions in Elon's compensation, which isn't real money. That isn't real money. That is just a paper figure. Although, as MD Hofste pointed out, they also had to pay $340 million in payroll taxes, which hit the bottom line in real dollars. So a quick shout out to MD Hofste on that. Aha. Yes, you do get your shout out. Ha. But here's the exciting part to me. Let's make sure I'm still in the right place. Further per vehicle cost of goods reduction. They were able to drop the price of their cars, the price that they pay to build them. Growth in deliveries, we knew about that. Improved profitability of automotive leasing and service and other businesses. Now, of course, there's that $340 million payroll tax. Raw materials cost more, increased warranty, and recall cost related to a specific batch of vehicles. Mind you, a very large batch, but a very small cost per car. Cash. Quarter-end cash and cash equivalents. Our total debt, excluding vehicle and energy product financing, has fallen to $1.4 billion. And the actual debt is only like $5.4 billion. I wonder how that compares to the big guys. Oh, I don't, because I actually looked. Where did I put it? We'll get to it. Dagnabbit. I put it in the wrong spot, but I've got it. You'll see it momentarily. Dang. Oh, I know what I did. Are they all the way out here? There they are. Give me just a second. Debt in millions. I put it in the wrong spot. So let's look at the other guys. GM has 185 billion smackaroo bobs in debt. Toyota, 94 billion. Ford, 215 billion. VW. And there's little old Tesla with their little old 5.4 billion. How's that compare? Well, here's their production in millions. 6.8, 8.7, 4.2. Good millions of productions to Tesla's lonely old 0.9 million. Debt per vehicle produced. For every vehicle GM sold last year, they're carrying $27 million in debt. That's not $27,000 in debt. Toyota, $10,000. Ford, $51,000 in debt for every vehicle they produced last year. Tesla's at $6,000. They could erase that debt. Well, first of all, they could erase it on cash on hand alone, but they don't need to. They don't need to. Okay. Yeah, Rob, they have an absolute ton of debt. So, on page 8, all good news here. I just skipped down to solar deployment. It's up. It's way up from last year, up from the year before, down from the Solar City days, but recovering. Storage deployed, up. That's a good number. 4,000 megawatt hours. That's a lot of storage, and it's only going to continue increasing. More stores and service locations, a larger mobile fleet, more superchargers, more supercharger connections. These are good numbers. I don't know why Wall Street doesn't seem impressed with that. I don't know why Wall Street isn't impressed. MD Hosty pointed out that I used the wrong numbers. A lot of debt is financing debt, not related to the company per se. Yes, but those were the quick and dirty numbers I could get. They still have massive, massive debts. And a lot of their pensions are considered assets or so. Oh no, they're considered outstanding. They're considered like outstanding shares, which is weird. So when you're looking at a market cap for someone like Ford or GM, you actually need to add back in the pension obligations, because that's considered part of the value of the future of the company. It's very strange. Vehicle capacity. Now this page, Fremont factory achieved record production. We believe there is potential to extend overall capacity beyond 600,000 per year. That's an old factory, man. That's an old factory. And if they can pull numbers like that, Production of both Model 3 and Y continued to ramp. Local production is essential, but they didn't say anything about capacity. The earnings report still shows greater than 450,000, which of course makes sense because we know they delivered 70,000 cars in December. Well, what's the math on that? 70,000 annualizes to 840,000, and that's, they've got new parts of the factory just now being built that will come online during the year. 840 might be low. Builds of Model Ys started late in 2021 at Giga Texas, and they also started in Brandenburg. And we knew that. We knew that. Come on. Why is this not moving right? I have notes. So the big news there is Fremont can expand. China doesn't have to expand, but it can. Just those two factories alone could get us to 1.4, 1.5 million this year, as Elon suggested in the call. But Texas and Berlin are ready. Their ramp awaits. And the last exciting one on this front is this chart. This is Tesla's market share by region. And you can see it's just increasing nicely. Not sure why there are dips here. It must be retooling. I don't know. But the exciting part is more these numbers over here. In the US, they're only at 2.2% market share. In the rest of the world, they're only at 1.5% market share in the major markets that they're in. That means the total addressable market is massive. The backlog is massive. The factories coming online will have plenty of customers available to buy the cars. People who need cars and want to buy them. Core technology, autopilot, and full self-driving. So there are now 60,000 users in beta, which would explain why I was able to get a ride in one. And it's expanding. It appears that we haven't realized much of the revenue from that. This is what Wall Street is missing. If Tesla is first to market, or even second to market, not only can they realize billions and billions in deferred income, money that's just sitting on the books, that they can't count yet, but they'll also have a massive market. So, for example, right now the take rate is probably under 10%. So that means, did I put that in the wrong spot too? I did. Another one in the wrong spot. Let me see if I can find it. Apologize for the mess. We'll see if I can find it. At any rate, I'll just do the math in my head. If you've got 2 million cars on the road, and only 10% of them have taken it so far, and only half of the remainder picks it up, that's, 900,000 cars. 450,000 would be the take rate. 2 million, 1.8, 900,000. 900,000 cars times 12,000, that's $10 billion they could recognize immediately. And if they're making 200,000 cars a month, and half of them take it, it's 100,000 more. That's another $1.2 billion a month coming in. That would be a bit ridiculous. That's what Wall Street's missing. That's what Wall Street is not accounting for yet. Well, that's good for us because we're buying and we're holding. Battery, powertrain, and manufacturing, cost of goods per vehicle dropped to about $36,000 in Q3 and 4. The average car at Tesla costs $36,000 to make. That means some cars cost less than that because you've got to factor in all the higher cost variants. And that's still selling nothing but great cars. Energy and storage. Deployments increased 32%. This is another one they're missing. They're just missing. Energy is going to be huge. The plant in Texas, where is it? Halfway near Houston, kind of. Gambit Energy made a whole video about it. When that system gets going, it's going to print money. Energy can be bigger than auto. FSD can be bigger than auto. As demand remains substantially above capacity, growth has been limited by supply. We are in the process of building a dedicated MegaPack factory. And since MegaPacks are more likely to use LFP or other chemistries rather than the high nickel, high cobalt stuff they put in cars, it's not likely to negatively impact the number of cars they can sell. Service and other. Now, service and other increased to a paltry loss of 2.7%, nudging above break even in Q4. Why is that? Well, because the cars are coming out of warranty. As the warranties expire, you're not doing all the fixes for free. For a long time, Tesla had 80% of the cars they'd ever built still under warranty. That's a recipe to lose money each quarter. But it's also a recipe to only lose it for a little while. Outlook. What page is this? 12. So we plan to grow our manufacturing capacity as quickly as possible. We expect to achieve 50% average annual growth in vehicle deliveries. So if the floodwaters are rising and you need a bunch of sandbags, you can look right here. The rate of growth will depend on our equipment capacity, operational efficiency and capacity, and the stability of the supply chain. So they still have ample demand. We have sufficient liquidity to fund our product roadmap, long-term capacity expansion plans, and other expenses. Yeah, they do. And the pile kind of keeps getting bigger. While we continue to execute on innovations and reduce the cost, we expect our hardware-related profits to be accompanied with an acceleration of software-related profits. Now, this is a very subtle way of saying FSD gonna be big. The pace of production ramps in Austin and Berlin will be influenced by the successful introduction of many new product and manufacturing technologies. So what they're saying is that 36,000 we just talked about, now mind you, these are all still pretty premium cars. We haven't gone down market yet, really. But there's room for improvement. The structural front and rear castings, the structural battery pack, the 4680s themselves. These cars are going to get cheaper. And the supply chain is already getting better sorted out. So this is exciting. I assume at some point, retail prices will go back down a bit, normalize as it were. But in the meantime, they're just making cash hand over fist, waiting for the rest of the industry to catch up. Page 25, they showed the Semi. You know, it's like they always say, show but don't tell. I would have appreciated a word on that, but it's coming. It's coming. Cumulative profitability since inception. Losing a little bit, making money. Making so much that for the lifetime, in just 2 years of profitability, all of this has been erased. Now, can other startups survive 17 years to reach profitability? Will they have to? I hope they won't have to. I hope they will survive. But you can see the road is often difficult, no matter how grand the vision. Sometimes the vision can be too grand, and I think that's part of what went wrong. This should be exciting. Page 27 here. These are the charts that Wall Street should love. Vehicle deliveries, operating cash flow, net income and adjusted EBITDA, earnings before interest, tax, deduction, and amortization, all moving in the right direction. But the stock is down. The stock is down. Went through these already. So the call and the jitters. Some people have said Elon should not have been on the call, and I can see both sides of that. There were no new gigafactories announced. There was a pre-announcement. We will announce an announcement later this year. But nothing was announced. And I think maybe Wall Street would like to see that, since the two factories that are almost complete are, almost complete. It would be nice to see that, but I think they need to validate Tesla Factory 3.0 before moving on and breaking ground on the next one. There was no update on the CyberTruck. I was just sure we'd see that, and I think a lot of analysts were too, since the truck was brought out for photo ops with all kinds of workers and even some celebrities. No update on the CyberTruck. That's disappointing. And of course, no announcement on the $25,000 car. Now that, I think, is the most ridiculous of all the complaints. We don't need a $25,000 car, not right now. Like Elon said, if we had a $25,000 car, we would not have been able to sell more cars. We just would have had less revenue. So focus on, there was a time when everything Elon did was a do or die moment. And as an investor, I am glad to see those days largely in the past. Largely in the past. What was overlooked? Well, FSD was absolutely overlooked. That is a $1 trillion opportunity that's just kind of being ignored. The Tesla bot. I was a doubter. But the robot's not the hard part. The brain is the hard part. Getting a robot to clench is easy. Getting a robot to walk is less easy, but still a solved problem. Getting a robot to do human-type tasks, very difficult. But Dojo can solve it. That's what Dojo do. And of course, overlooked, the energy sector. The energy sector is going to be quite large. MegaPacks. To a lesser extent, Powerwalls. But really the MegaPacks, because Tesla can control the entire process from installation to execution, all of it. And they will start in the markets where it's most needed and most profitable, and move down from there as battery costs drop, and it just makes more sense. That's what's overlooked. And now I found my chart. FSD vehicles ready, 12,000, 10 billion. At a 50% take rate, that'd be 10 billion right out of the gate. 50% of the as yet unpurchased number. Monthly production at 140,000 would still be almost $1 billion a month. And that's assuming the 12,000 doesn't go up. We have been informed repeatedly by Elon, it probably will go up. It probably will. So, I think it's time to get into the Q&A. What do you guys think? Yeah. So let's give a quick thanks to my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, all that good stuff. I'm doing some exclusive content weekly on both Electrified and Best in Tesla. And if you don't feel like wading through their terrible content, I joke because their content is wonderful. They are also posted on my Patreon for my Patreons before it even goes up there. And I've got my 11-year tracker. All that good stuff. Love it. So, let's just get into the chat, shall we? Yeah. Move this up here. Digital Blade Canada, hello, welcome. Let's see, any other questions we need to address? Todd, thank you again for this super chat. Really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Let's see, SpaceX stuff. The chat is quiet tonight. It is. Let's do this. Make it a little bigger. Smash the thumbs up like it's your stepsister. Oh dear. Just me hanging out in the pre-chat. Already said my hellos? Yeah, the chat is pretty quiet. Interesting. Wish I had more money to buy more stock. It's all already in Tesla. Don't the rest of them have about $500 billion in debt? They're in debt up to their eyeballs, honestly. The legacy companies wish they had financial statements like these. They wish they had a lot of things. They wish they had a supply chain like Tesla's. They wish they had engineers like Tesla's. They wish they had fans like Tesla's. How many Ford channels are there? Like big ones, on the kind of size you see. The engagement is amazing. A lot of the debt is not as bad as it seems, but it's still a lot. Yeah, they're surviving. It is not crushing them, but a lot of the complaints, it was just a few years ago. Tesla had some very large debts that were about to come due, and they needed to convert them to shares if the share price got high enough. And for a while, the price was not high enough. And it looked like there was going to be a debt cliff looming that would potentially cause problems. But the share price climbed, and they got out from under it. Stellantis not reporting until February 23rd. Interesting, because they could probably fit their profits on a fortune cookie. China is expanding this spring. I have not heard that. I will go look for more information. 2022 is going to be crazy. I agree. Tesla has got a lot of headroom this year, and it's not speculative. We can see it all. Tesla's results don't always drive the stock price. So a lot of times I'm asked, oh, the quarterly numbers are coming out. What do you think they'll be? And I always say they will beat expectations and then the stock will tank. Because the market is irrational. Elon, the ultimate optimist, he can see in his imagination and has faith it will be real. Not all people can or do. See that, Wendell, and you are right. It's interesting to me. There's a lot of things I would do differently. I would have done differently if I was Elon. And all of them would have made my company very small and just counting its days until it dies. I thought he should have stuck with buying gliders and retrofitting them, because no company had ever gone into mass production of their own vehicles successfully. Not in 60, 70 years. He does things differently. His vision is in excess of mine. I would already be resting on my laurels. But Tesla bought Starship? Starlink? I like that Tesla China has its own software team. They just put out their OTA update for Chinese New Year. Neat. Just finished watching Dave Lee talking with James Dalma. Very insightful. James Dalma, my gosh. It's like listening to a Jedi. Dave Lee is, of course, very smart. But James Dalma blows my mind. Very insightful. I wonder if the FSD will be just for China when they work it out with a dedicated server farm to handle it. I doubt it. They don't like geofencing. They like to do it all and do it all once and well and together. Is it Friday Hangout? Let's have a Tesla Kila. I don't have a Tesla Kila. I do have one of my patrons sent me his belt buckle. He bought an extra. And this one is definitely not the counterfeit one that he bought when the other one sold out before it came back in stock for him to buy more. Definitely not. I would like the CyberTruck to come out before I retire as well. I would also like to just get a CyberTruck. I'd like to get a base model CyberTruck. The problem with base model Teslas is they don't like to sell them. Oh, Digital Blade Canada, thank you so much for the super chat. I just saw that. FSD is something I cannot believe until it happens. Very hard until done. Absolutely, Charlie. It is impossible, and it will remain impossible until it isn't. And like a lot of things, like the 4-minute mile, I think once it happens once, it'll happen more times immediately. I think it is so far an impossible nut to crack. I have a video that I've written about the March of Nines, but not yet recorded because I'm so backlogged. But I have additional editorial help, so that will be great. Who is this? Asks, you ever going to collab with Tesla Daily? I've reached out to him a number of times, about every 3 months for a year and a half, and I have not heard back. I talked with him a number of times before my channel launched. I had, before he was on YouTube, I had offered to get him on YouTube to just take his podcast and add B-roll, like everyone does. But he said the time wasn't right, and now that I have a channel, I haven't heard from him. So, yeah, unfortunately, yeah. So I believe the answer is no. Right. Seems the 4680 will be used for cost reduction instead of performance. Agree. In the short term, yes. But I don't know what the actual capacity of it is. So maybe both at some point? Maybe we'll know better when the Cybertruck comes? I don't know. Mark, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. At least the Cybertruck will have all the latest tech when it's released. Yeah, and I have to say, I actually like the revised look that we got to see last week. I think it looks better. To me, it looks better. Any last minute questions before we shut her down? I should have done better with my comment on FSD. The FSD in China will be created for China only, with a server farm to operate it. I thought your comment was clear. I thought I understood that. But I don't think that will happen. Brian, you should collab with Yashu. Hit that bid. I will. I am certainly open to that. So guys, what did I miss or misunderstand? Leave me all your thoughts, your comments, your blinding brilliance, your wisdom in the comments below. And as always, my friends, you got to stay tuned, stay juicy. And just know that there is no way I can do this without your help. And I will see you guys all upon the flippity flop.